You may have seen this guy take out the silver medal in the Olympics, and you may even be thinking to yourself, where did he suddenly come from? How the hell did he just come out of nowhere and do all that? Well, let me tell you, he didn't just come out of nowhere. He'd been progressing very, very fast since he was a little kid. Now, here's some story time, right? I went to SOOO in 2015 as my home base to play professionally, to train, to prepare for Olympic trials, to prepare for Commonwealth Games and Commonwealth Games trials, and just in general, just take my game to the next level, which was an obsession at that time in my life. Now, I saw Truls grow up as a 13-year-old back in 2015. And here's a funny story, right? Swedish people are very optimistic, they're very friendly, and they always said, this kid's gonna be the next hope. He's our next Waldner, we hope. And you have Chinese people, you have some Chinese people playing at the club who are very good already, world class. And their view was, I need to see it, like nothing's proven until we see it. I'm not sure. So here I was in the middle, like, wow, this kid's very good for a 13-year-old. I'm an eternal optimist as a person. I'm very optimistic, but I'm also not swinging, like, it probably wasn't as optimistic as they were, but I'm also not swinging the opposite way like the Chinese were. So this video here is him as a 15 or 16-year-old. 16, because the year was 2018. In 2015, he was 13. And if we do the maths, 2018, he's 16 or he's turning 16. I can't remember when his birthday was. But anyway, so how did this kid make the Olympic final and get a silver medal? Well, I'm here to take you on a journey from seeing him from my perspective, and as someone who played in a team with him, as someone who, was generally quite a lot older. Because kind of like as you get older though, you don't feel the age difference as much. But when he's this 13-year-old kid who really wants to win, he's got good touch, got good reading of the game, you feel the age difference. Because when he was 13, 2015, I would have been 21. So when you're 21 and you're playing with a 13-year-old, you definitely feel the age difference. So then we'd play practice games, we'd probably even play like legitimate club matches and, for a bit of money. And there's this unsaid pressure, even though it's practice matches. None of us wanted to lose. Myself, David Powell, some of the other guys, that place had great players. Matthias probably still does. Matthias Overhoer had like Robert Svensson, had Shibayev, Shuhui. There was it was a really world-class place in terms of high performance and professional players. Now, him as a 13-year-old, obviously is nowhere near as good as he is now, but for a 13-year-old, he was incredible, right? So Swedish people, again, saw him as like the next hope. Chinese people have a lot of respect for Waldner, but they're like, no, he's not going to be. And I sat there like more on the optimistic side, thinking, we'll see. The funny story is, we would play and I'd feel like I should be favored against him when he was 13. A year later, I'd finished the Olympics. I'd headed back to Europe after the Olympics in 2016. And I asked Truls for a warm-up before he played SOOO, who was like 30 or 40 in the world at that time. When I was warming up with Truls, I was like, oh, wow, like he's improved a lot. I don't know if I feel confident to beat him if we played a match. I wouldn't like to lose to a 14-year-old, even though he's not the usual 14-year-old. But I just remember, like, he played SOOO and he had like a competitive 4-2 loss. And I was like, Jesus Christ. In the warm-up, I felt he was good, but like, I think he's getting really good. So 2016, 2017, I mostly competed in Australia. I didn't really go back to Europe. Nearly won the nationals, won a lot of Australian titles, had a very stellar year. Because 2016 was, after the Olympics, was quite a depressing year. But that's a topic for another day. I bounced back from that hard, depressing year after the Olympics. I had a rough season in Germany, came back, 2017, I was like in the form of my life in Australia. Quickly got ranked Australian #1 male. 2018, I went back after the Commonwealth Games trials. I'd finished in first position. And that's when you see me in this video playing the great points in the points that I show you at the start. 2017, actually no, I did come back in 2017 for like a month. They paid for my hotel and stuff, and they were really happy I was there. And man, I was like, all right, 2017, because 2015, remember, Truls was 13, and I was like, he's good, but I feel like I should beat him. 2016 was like, 2017, I was like, oh wow. Like, he'd beaten Kamal, he'd lost Juice in the 7th to Jonathan Groff, and I'm like, oh, like, I actually can't take a set off him anymore. 2018, start of the year, January, I was #1 in Australia. I won the Olympic Commonwealth Games trials in #1 spot. Like, I was the clear Australian #1 for at least half the year, right? So my point is my level was good and I was feeling great, I was confident. It was a great time in my life for table tennis, and I came back, played some practice sessions with Truls, played some practice games, and that's when I was like, oh my God, I cannot actually get more than 5 points. I'm actually struggling to get over 5 points against this guy. Like, the biggest differences I felt was how good his return to serve was, how good his reading of the game was, how much variation he had that he was in control of, but you would never expect as an opponent. His return to serve was ridiculous. You felt so much pressure to serve well, whether it was short or half long or whatever. You felt so much pressure to serve well, or he'd just start controlling the point. On his serve, he would have the same action for short or long, and he'd mix up no spin and backspin so well you couldn't even, and I can pick a no spin serve, a backspin serve. I read serve extremely well. Returning serve is actually one of my strengths when I was a professional player. But I was like, man, this guy's incredibly hard to return serve with. He gets a good feel of where you're going to play the ball next, and he calculates his attack. He's extremely good at that. So these are some of the many things that make him incredible. I didn't go back there in 2019 or 2020, but I'd imagine that even when I played with him in 2018, and I'm like, he's virtually unplayable now. He just got better and better and better. Like, he started beating Koki Niwa, he started beating a lot of the Chinese. You know, he at 2018, when I felt he was unplayable, he still would have only been 16. So from 16, 17, 18, I'm pretty confident he would have made way higher jumps. And now you see him today, he's definitely one of the top 10 or top 5 players in the world for sure. So yeah, it's interesting how it all turned out. And as someone who spent a fair bit of time with him, I'm very happy that he nearly won the gold medal. Look, you can argue that he was never in control of the final, but I think he had his chances, and he did extremely well. He proved a lot of people wrong, and I hope to see him have more success in the future. And if you guys can learn one thing from him, the biggest tip I'm going to give that I learned from him as a player is whether you serve short or long, you should have the exact same action. So how I did this, and I learned this from him, was I'm going to rock my body back and forth like I'm going to serve every ball long and fast, right? And when I actually want to serve short, I'm just going to like grip it more and suck the ball in to keep it short and low, right? And it's very subtle, but it's extremely more difficult for the opponent. And you guys can actually start doing that straight away. And if you're not sure how to really implement all this, jump onto my free school community and I'll personalize help to you guys. And also, put in the comment section if there's any questions. But any best way to get help and improve your game and learn from these experiences that I've had, jump in this free school community using the link below, and I will see your beautiful faces there.